Ryan.
I'm Jackie.
And together, we are
Functionally
Functionally Literate. And we are talking about Jane Eyre.
Always.
By Charlotte Bronte?
Bronte.
Bronte.
I think you said Bronte before. But if
Got that, like, umlaut over the E.
Yeah.
It's Bronte.
Bronte.
It's Bronte.
Bronte.
Dang it. Okay.
Yeah.
The umlaut over the E means it's E.
I will
Bronte.
never miss an opportunity to correct how you pronounce something.
Okay. Noted.
I've already done it, right?
You have.
Okay.
But yeah, we're talking about Jane Eyre chapters 5 through 8. These are, as you have penned them, the Lowood chapters. We get more Lowood chapters, but these are the initial Lowood chapters.
Yeah. The lowest Lowood chapters, as it were.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh,
I mean, it is great, but the circumstances aren't great. We're going to jump into it.
Yeah.
Chapter 5, How Jane Departed from Gateshead, and of her first day at Lowood. So yeah, this chapter is all about Jane's departure from the Reeds, her travels, and her first day at Lowood.
It's a hefty chapter. It carries a lot of... It's got a lot of heavy lifting to do.
It does.
So we start off with Jane getting up at the butt crack of dawn.
She got up at 4:30. She was ready to go.
Butt crack of dawn.
Yeah.
She and Bessie are going to head to, I guess, the top of the drive, I suppose, to catch the coach.
The impression I get is they were walking down a really long drive and the coach met them, like, at the estate limits.
Yeah. Coach, they've been paid to take her on this ride.
Oh, yeah.
And
to be her guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bessie made a small breakfast for Jane, and Jane did not eat it. She was too excited.
She's going to regret that decision.
Yes. And then Bessie asked if she'd say goodbye to Mrs. Reed, and Jane said no, that Mrs. Reed had come to her bed last night to say not to disturb her or the kids in the morning, to remember that she had always been Jane's best friend, fuck off.
Fuck off.
And to say good things of her when Jane spoke of her. Jane said nothing, simply turning away to face the wall.
As she should.
Bessie thought that was wrong. Jane said it was right, as Mrs. Reed is my beau. I'm inclined to agree with her.
Absolutely. My favorite part of her departure is how she's getting ready to walk out the door and she calls goodbye to Gateshead.
Yeah.
I just envisioned this little 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So thrilled to go.
Yeah. Maybe, if we're lucky, waking someone up with her yells.
Yeah.
Goodbye to Gateshead.
Fuck it up, Jane.
Goodbye. To me, the trip to Lowood itself wasn't all that interesting.
I think what is most interesting about it is the fact that it's such a long journey. It's a 50-mile trip.
But to her, it felt like hundreds.
Yeah. It's a really long trip for her. She's 10 years old taking it by herself. That's even remarked upon. Is she going by herself? What a long way. I wonder Mrs. Reed is not afraid to trust her so far alone.
Mrs. Reed doesn't give a fuck.
Mrs. Reed doesn't care at all.
So they travel for a bit. They stop at one point at an inn for a meal. Jane, once again, cannot eat, so she's left to just wander around the inn until her coach guard collects her. They continue on their travels. Eventually, they stop passing through towns, instead passing through hills and valley forests. Eventually, Jane falls asleep, and she is woken by a young woman who confirms, oh, you're Jane Eyre, who helps Jane down, gets her things out, brought her and her things inside to a room with a fire. There, she warmed herself and looked around when two women entered. One was tall, dark hair, dark eyes, pale skin, large forehead. This woman asked Jane several questions about herself and then arranged for Miss Miller, the other woman, to get her fed. Right. So she brought Jane to a wide, long room that many girls of various ages were studying in. Miller indicated for Jane to sit and then ended this study time by ordering the monitors to collect the girls' lesson books and then bring them supper. Again, Jane did not eat. she went with all the other schoolgirls to a large shared bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Jane shared a bed with Miss Miller, which was normal here. All the girls shared a bed with another girl. The rest of the chapter describes her first day. Honestly, based on the length of this chapter versus some of the early ones, I kind of feel like this chapter could have been split up into 2.
Probably so.
But, I mean, it was fine as one chapter.
Yeah.
It just, here, this end of day into the next day would have, I felt, been a natural, chapter break.
Mm-hmm. Charlotte Bronte didn't think that it needed to, and so that's good enough for us.
Yeah. So, everything Jane tells us about Lowood conveys that this is a strict, orderly Christian school. Everything is structured. It's the same thing every day.
Everything. And when we say structured, we mean capital S.
Yeah. So they start their day with 90 minutes of prayer and Bible study.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Kill me now.
No, thank you.
No thank you.
Absolutely not.
Then they have breakfast. This morning,
if you can call it that.
It was burned porridge, which everyone found distasteful.
Mm-hmm.
Jane only ate as much as she did since she fasted the entire day before. She spooned down, maybe 2 or 3 spoonfuls before she actually started tasting it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, ooh, I can't eat this.
So they're supposed to stay in silence while they're eating. They're not supposed to be, talking and carrying on.
I think their patience might have been tried a little bit this morning.
Yeah, who can blame them?
Bird porridge.
And as they're all leaving and nobody has eaten anything, even the teachers, as Jane gleans from hearing them as she walked by, is talking about how just abominable they say that the food is, how shameful they say.
Yeah. Shameful.
But
after breakfast, lessons.
Back to more lessons.
So everyone is taught in the same room, but there were a few different classes held in this large room.
I picture it like there's a bunch of sort of seats or benches or whatever kind of in the middle-ish, and then they all kind of section off into the 4 corners of the room.
That makes sense.
That's how I've always pictured it.
I wasn't really sure how to picture it.
Yeah.
But everyone was taught in the same room. Geography, history, grammar, math, etc. Lengthy description here of Miss Maria Temple, the superintendent. And I must say, Jane knows her audience, because she caps off this description by saying, let the reader add, to complete the picture, refined features, a complexion, if pale, clear, and a stately air and carriage. And he will have, at least as clearly as words can give it, a correct idea of the exterior of Miss Temple. I think Jane is trying to say, hey, Miss Temple's hot.
A little
Miss
hot.
Temple can get it.
Foxy lady.
Miss Temple is described as having, her dress makes her stand out from everyone else. She clearly
frankly, that's not hard to do.
No.
They're in these gray smocks.
Yeah.
With their pinafores and with their Holland pockets on them, and just as drab and gray and brown as they can be.
Whereas she kind of looks like, based on the description given, her clothes were actually tailor-made for her. Mm-hmm. And they look like, these are really good quality clothes. Mm-hmm. And none of the rest of them have that.
It says here that her dress was of a purple cloth. Mm. And I think that still at the time here, purple was still a color that was harder to dye into clothes.
Oh, okay.
So it ended up, I'm not saying that Miss Temple was probably rich, but I think she knew how to spend the little money that she had.
She was certainly better off than everybody else that worked there.
Well, she was the superintendent.
Yeah. Gotta have some perks, right?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I remember reading about Miss Temple and thinking several things, and one of them was really confusing for younger me, who didn't really understand what bisexual meant. So, I was like, she's a super kind teacher. Thank God Jane actually has somebody kind around. And also, she sounds like a fox.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So after a bit of lessons, Miss Temple gets everyone's attention and says, hey, breakfast sucked. You must be hungry. You'll have some bread and cheese for lunch. And the other women are surprised. Mm-hmm. And she says to them, on my responsibility. Mm-hmm. Making clear, just hey, I'm choosing to do this. If anyone gets flack for this, it will be me. You're doing what I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. So then they're sent out into the garden, and we get a description of that, and it's not much to look at, but Jane believes that it would look lovely in springtime. Unfortunately, it's January, it's cold. She spends a bit of her time just shivering and thinking, and Jane can't recall what her thoughts were, giving an explanation that made me think in this moment, Jane is adrift. Like, she's acclimating to her surroundings. Nothing that she's really thinking at this time is concrete. Like, it's all kind of murky and confused.
Yeah. Well, lots happening all at once for her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So as she's walking around, the building that they're in for this school is a pretty old one.
Yeah.
So she sees a stone tablet over a door, and she reads it, and it says, Lowood Institution. This portion was rebuilt AD whatever by Naomi Brocklehurst of Brocklehurst Hall in this country.
And then there's a Bible verse.
Yes. Now, Jane doesn't really understand what that means necessarily.
Yeah, she stared at it trying to glean a meaning and she just couldn't.
Yeah. And then, while she's walking around and trying to think of what the hell that all means,
she hears a cough.
And she turns to see a young lady older than her.
Yeah.
Reading a book. I meant to look up what this book was, but I didn't have time.
I have it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's Rasselas, but I don't know.
So I have a footnote in my copy, my PDF copy that I was reading up to this point, that explains that Rasselas is a didactic romance from 1759 by Samuel Johnson.
Okay.
I don't know anything else beyond that, but it is a romance novel that Helen is reading. And Jane asks about it. Helen's like, here, you can have a look at it. And Jane wasn't much interested in it because it wasn't a fairy tale. It did not have dragons. It did not have knights. It did not have the trappings of fantasy. She quickly gave it back. And then she asks a ton of questions.
She asks her, what does this sign mean? And
asks her about the teachers.
She asks, so is this school, why is it called an institution? Is it different from other schools? What's up? So the girl tells her that it's a school for orphans. It's a charity school. And then we come to find out that this girl, her dad is still alive. Her mother has died. She's asking her about the different teachers. She asks about Miss Temple first. And this girl's face just kind of lightens up, and I think she really likes talking about Miss Temple because she's sort of this nice little bright light in at least this girl's life.
Yeah.
And then she talks about the other teachers. There's Miss Smith, who is the, I would call her the resident seamstress, frankly, the one that handles their clothes and stuff like that. They make their own clothes, but she handles like the fabric and stuff like that.
Okay.
There's Miss Scatcherd, who teaches history and grammar.
And Jane is warned to mind her because she's very short-tempered.
Yes. And then there's Madame Pirot, who teaches French.
Thank you. I wasn't going to pronounce that until I heard you say it first.
Yeah, they're just talking, and it's lovely, and then the dinner bell rings.
Well, what I thought was funny about it was that this girl answers all of Jane's questions until she starts to get personal with them. She's like, oh, are both your parents dead? And she's just like, no, just one of them. Like, oh, do you like the school? And she's like, you are asking too many questions. Let me read.
Are you happy here? She asks.
That's what it was.
And that's when she says,
yeah. She's like, stop, listen, just let me read. But she didn't get a chance to read because then they had to go back in. Yeah. And they had to continue with their lessons. And it just kind of goes on a bit like that until it's time for bedtime, as I recall.
So after dinner, they go to the schoolroom until dinner here is sort of like between lunch and supper.
Yeah.
So they go back to school till 5 o'clock, and then it's supper time, whatever. They have dinner. Or supper, I mean. But the thing is, Jane says that the only marked event of the afternoon was that she saw the girl with whom she had conversed dismissed in disgrace by Miss Scatcherd, and sent to stand in the middle of the large schoolroom.
And I believe Jane is, like, appalled. Like, she couldn't imagine this being done to her. Like, she was going on about, like, how she would react if this happened to her and how she wouldn't be able to just sit there calmly and take it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, if I remember correctly, this might have happened in a later chapter, but I believe in this moment, this girl doesn't seem to even acknowledge her surroundings. Like, she just seems like she's in another world.
Yeah, it says here, her eyes are fixed on the floor, but I'm sure they do not see it. Her sight seems turned in, gone down into her heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's dissociating hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, poor dear. So, after 5 o'clock, they have another meal, which was basically just coffee and a piece of bread.
And they go to bed.
They say their prayers.
They say their prayers. And that is all she had to say about her first day at Lowood.
Mm-hmm. Such was my first day at Lowood.
And I think it's good that we get this description because these descriptions are much less specific as time goes on, but that makes sense because this is her first day.
Yeah.
But all the days are like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is roughly the schedule that they all follow every day.
Mm-hmm. So I'll admit, and you and I had spoken a little bit about this previously, listener, if you'll recall, we had talked about the picture of Dorian Gray previously.
We did.
And I compared Oscar Wilde's writing to Charlotte Bronte's writing. Of course, Oscar Wilde was writing pretty well after after Charlotte Bronte was.
Yes.
But I was talking about how Oscar Wilde's writing is very symbolic, full of imagery that is full of symbolism and metaphor and all of that. And what Charlotte Bronte does is it's a lot more references to things than just metaphor.
Yeah.
And I think that makes her honestly an easier romantic writer to read.
It's much easier to follow. For sure.
She doesn't use overly flowery language.
No.
It's elevated, but those were the times.
Right.
But I think, honestly, I could give this to my 13-year-old, and she'd have no problem.
I mean, there'd be several words where it's like, what's that mean? But, like, other than that, like...
You did that.
I did that. Exactly. The digital copy I have is also very good about having footnotes. Like, it's got 2 different appendixes, one for words that you might not understand, and one for references that you might not understand.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. And I'm planning on continuing to use that as I come across things in the physical copy that I'm just like, what?
Yeah, that's fair.
Second day at school.
Second day. So as she describes it, it's freezing cold. The breakfast was better than it was. Whatever.
It was.
She talks about there are water pitchers on tables, like down the dormitory, like in the middle of the rows of beds, I would assume. Mm-hmm. And it says that it's so cold that the water in the pitchers was frozen. So that means these young ladies...
Pretty dang cold.
Yeah, that means these young ladies don't have anything to drink, of course, but they also don't have anything to wash up with, and that becomes important later on. Yeah. So Jane talks about how she was enrolled as a member of the 4th class, which I would say is probably something like maybe 4th or 5th grade. I know it doesn't really translate, but...
It doesn't.
I mean, she's like that age, so...
Yeah. English, art, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So she was, learning, doing her school. Miss Smith, the clothier, comes in and she sets her to work hemming some fabric. And while she's sitting hemming fabric, she happens to catch Miss Scatcherd giving the same young lady that she had met the other day.
Just being awful.
Giving her the full business.
Burns!
Yeah.
You are standing on the side of your shoe. Turn your toes out immediately. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. You're not in military academy.
You poke your chin out most unpleasantly. Draw it in.
Burns, I insist on your holding your head up. I will not have you before me in that attitude, etc., etc.
So little Burns just catches all the flack from Scatcherd, which if there was ever a name that pronounced severity, I would like to hear a better one. Burns is described as being a pretty good student. Jane notices that her memory seems to be able to recall things from the lesson that it kind of looked like she wasn't really paying attention.
But Scatcherd is just freaking on one, man. Will not let up. Has super high expectations of this girl.
It doesn't matter that she's answering questions right and that she's doing everything she should do. Scatcherd hurries up and cries out, "You dirty, disagreeable girl, you have never cleaned your nails this morning." Now, I think that this is an interesting thing that happens next, and it's that Burns gets reprimanded for this and punished.
Told to go get a switch.
And what Jane is thinking the whole time is she should just tell her that the water was frozen and she couldn't wash herself.
Yeah.
She should just say it, because this is an injustice, which is Jane's whole thing at 10 years old.
Yeah. She has just begun to tell it like it is, and she will not be slighted.
Nope. So Burns carries the switch over to the teacher. It says she inflicted on her neck 12 strokes with the bunch of twigs.
That's pretty severe. But would not give Scatcherd the satisfaction of reacting. And so Scatcherd's just like, "Hardened girl, nothing can correct you of your slatternly habits. Carry the rod away." And so she does. And Jane notices, but Scatcherd doesn't, that she did loose a single tear from this pain.
Is it the pain, do you think she's crying about, or the injustice that Jane perceives?
Could be both. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like getting hit on the back of the neck with, like, a switch of branches just one time.
And these weren't love taps, man.
Like, that's just, I think I would be crying. Like, I remember. Yeah. Do you remember buzzards? This might have been before your time. Like in school, buzzards. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I know the bird buzzard.
Okay, so buzzards were when you made a paper football, and then you put a staple in it, and then you used a rubber band to shoot them at people. And kids liked to hit me on the back of the neck with buzzards, and yes, they did make me cry, because that shit hurts.
Oh.
Anyways, I was thinking of that when this happened, and I was just like, yeah, no, that's she's ballsier than me to be able to withstand those tears.
Yeah. Now I'm sad for her and you.
And you don't have to be. And nobody has shot me in the back of the neck with a buzzard since then, so we're all good. They come across to their break, and Burns is reading her book again, and so Jane comes on over and starts chatting again. Is it still Rassilus? It is. And she just finished it. So that's nice.
Finally, so she doesn't keep getting interrupted by this dude. So Jane asks her, "What's your name besides Burns?" She says, "Helen."
Helen.
I love Helen.
I like Helen a lot. Yeah, Helen's great. Helen is pretty stoic.
She is, and the way that she is described continually in here is, when I first, you had talked about Helen, you texted me about Helen.
I did.
And I told you that she seemed to me like Luna Lovegood.
A little bit.
I realized that Luna Lovegood is kind of airy and just sort of, you could perceive her as maybe ditzy or something.
I view Helen as, I think I told you that I think she's a little more subdued than Luna. Luna is very expressive, but I do see...
Expressive but true to herself, and that's,
I see what you mean with Helen, because she is not afraid to speak her mind, at least with her peers. And a lot of her opinions are informed by what she reads. Much like Jane. Although Jane's reading much simpler things.
Just picture books about birds.
Just picture books. Things are pictures. She likes pictures.
She likes birds.
Pictures, birds,
so,
fairy tales.
So Jane, anything to escape her world.
Yeah.
So she asks her about where she's from, near Scotland, whatever. She talks about, then she starts asking about Scatcherd. And she says, "She's so cruel to you." And Helen's answer is, "Cruel? Not at all. She's severe. She dislikes my faults." And this is the second time in this book so far that a young lady's faults have been brought up.
Yeah.
And of course, Jane stands up for herself and says, I'm not deceitful. That is not my fault.
Yeah.
But Helen goes ahead and owns up to it.
And I remember just the way Jane responds here. She's like, if it had been me, I'd have taken that rod from her hands and snapped it under her nose. And Helen's just like, probably you would do nothing of the sort.
I don't think
you would. But if you did, Mr. Brocklehurst would expel you, which would be a great grief to your relations.
She just thinks about everything all the time. I think Helen has that kind of brain that's just sort of on the universe.
Thinking of the consequences of every action.
It's chess, but like not to win. It's just like she's thinking about everything all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's a good Christian girl because at the end, she caps off what she says with, besides, the Bible bids us return good for evil. Helen is just... What she's saying is not connecting with Jane.
Yeah.
She's just like, I don't get it. I don't understand why you would put up with these injustices.
So she asks Helen, you say you have faults. What are they? To me, you seem very good. And she talks about how, don't judge by my appearances. She says, I'm slatternly, never keep things in order. I'm careless. I forget rules. I read when I should learn my lessons. I have no method. And sometimes, I say, like you, I cannot bear to be subjected to systematic arrangements. Same.
I mean, if you stuck me in an academy like this one, I would go nuts.
I think I would go into, like, hyper just get through it mode. I would go into survival mode hard. I would fawn hard.
Anyways, everything about Helen pisses Scatcherd off, who is naturally neat, punctual, and particular.
And cross and cruel.
And cross and cruel, Jane adds, which Helen does not acknowledge.
She doesn't deny it, though.
No, she just doesn't say anything. And then that's when Jane asks about Miss Temple.
Miss Temple.
She likes Miss Temple.
I brought up Miss Trunchbull a little bit ago in the last episode.
Yeah.
Just as kind of a name-droppy thing. But frankly, Miss Temple is Miss Honey here. In my head. I'm not a Matilda fan. I'm sorry. Come for me.
Love Matilda.
But,
love Miss Honey.
Oh, Miss Honey's everything.
Miss Honey is everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. You
view Miss Temple as a Miss Honey type?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, that's good for setting my expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very fair. So she just describes her as being just kind of indulgent to Helen's idiosyncrasies, which I have a feeling nobody else really does for Helen.
Yeah.
Jane just kind of keeps challenging her about, like, well, what do you mean you're not good? What do you mean this is your fault? What do you mean you don't
Helen
answer
has
well?
an answer to every question. I think that she doesn't give herself enough credit.
No.
I think that Helen is the type that will blame herself more than she will blame others for her situation. I think that she's victimizing herself, really.
Humble and meek to a fault.
Yeah, she's like, no, I brought this on myself because I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't do this. I wasn't good enough. I'm not perfect enough. So, no, this is on me. I know what I'm supposed to do and I didn't do it, so it's my fault.
Which doesn't that break your heart?
Yeah, it does.
And I'll be danged if I didn't identify with Helen a little bit when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because I was, and kind of still am, a pretty tightly wound person. Mm-hmm. I've gotten a lot better with age, but I don't know. Just hearing Helen talk about, frankly, fawning in this world.
Yeah.
To just try to get by without placing blame on her abusers.
Yeah, she has...
I get it.
Jane drives at an interesting point. She starts asking about Miss Temple, and Helen talks about how great Miss Temple is, and she's like, are you better instructed under Miss Temple? And she says, yes. And
in a passive way.
Yeah, because Miss Temple often instructs about things that Helen would be inclined to listen to anyways. And so she's interested in what Miss Temple teaches. That's why she's better behaved with Miss Temple.
What gets me is that Jane just doesn't stop challenging her, even with the Miss Temple stuff.
But even so, Helen rises to the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has an answer to every challenge that Jane has.
What I love here that Jane says, and it's kind of a carryover from when she was at Gateshead, she talks about, I must resist those who punish me unjustly. It's as natural as that I should love those who show me affection or submit to punishment when I feel it is deserved. And Helen's like, yeah, heathens and savage tribes hold that doctrine, but Christians and civilized nations disown it.
How? I don't understand.
It's not violence that best overcomes hate, nor vengeance that most certainly heals injury.
What then?
She's like, well, check out the New Testament.
She's like, listen, observe what Christ says and how he acts. Yeah. So, well, what does he say? Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Yeah. Do good to them that hate you and despitefully use you. And she's like, well, then I should love Mrs. Reed, which I cannot do. I should bless her son John, which is impossible. And so then Helen asks Jane what she's talking about. And Jane explains all of it. All, like, everything to do with the Red Room and how awful the Reeds were to her and everything that happened that led to her coming here.
Yep. And Helen's like, well, she just didn't like ya. She just didn't like your character. Okay. Just like how Scatcherd doesn't like mine. Scatcherd is her Mrs. Reed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
This episode is not brought to you by gas prices.
Oh, woof. That's rough.
I filled up my tank yesterday and paid $72.
No, you didn't. How many
I also spent $72.
How many gallons of gas do your cars hold?
17.
I also put 17.
Oh, okay. That's fair. My car holds like 7.5. It's a little tiny car. Yeah. So gas prices don't really affect me as much somehow.
But also, it's $4.20 here in Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah.
And that I think is the highest that I've ever seen it here, which is insane.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And I'll tell you something. Everyone listening to this is going to be like, oh, really? $4.20, Aaron? Fuck you. It's $5 here.
Yeah.
For you, it's $6.80 in California. And twice that in Alaska.
And you know what? This is not us, trying to discriminate against your pain. But we are all allowed to feel pain. Our pain is still valid because that is expensive for us here.
New choice.
Sorry? Pain.
Don't be sorry. New choice.
Pain is a fire?
Pain is the fire that will not burn in our tanks.
You know what? And you know what? Gas is just bad everywhere. It's bad here. It's bad there.
It's bad when we taped this. It's bad when it's airing.
Yes. Oh, theoretically, it could be worse when it's airing.
Give the spiel.
Oh, yeah. But if you have some extra money, because you're like me and you have a very tiny car, and you're like, what should I do with all this extra money? Then you can monetarily support this podcast. We would love to have more patrons. We've got fabulous one right now, and we are very grateful and supportive to his support that he is consistently doing, but we'd love to have more. We'd love to have a whole crew. So if you're interested, subscribe to the Patreon. If you're interested in making a one-time donation, you can do that. If you don't have money because you drive big cars, then like and review the podcast because we'd love to have that too. Back to the show.
So Helen goes on a little bit of a tear here, and it becomes obvious to Jane that she's kind of drifting off and she's sort of talking to herself at this point. But what gets to me that Helen talks about, and she tells Jane, I think you need to let that shit go.
Yeah.
With Mrs. Reed. And Jane's like, no,
never.
Absolutely.
For the rest of my days, I will never let this go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's verifiable because she says directly to Mrs. Reed in the narrative, like, this is on you. Mm-hmm. I blame you for this.
You're the hoe about this.
Yeah.
How dare you? So there are a few quotes. There's essentially two quotes that Helen says, and I think it I think it shows, now Helen's 14 or so.
Yeah.
Which I think this shows this sort of wiseness, not just beyond her years, but beyond like her past life and her future lives. You know what I mean? She says that, essentially, eternity is a rest. Meaning that when she dies and she goes on for eternity, that is when she will get to rest. That is when things will be easy. It's not easy here because
things will be
isn't
easy
eternity.
when I'm dead.
Essentially, she says, I live in calm, looking to the end. She sees death as a reward.
Fuck, dude.
I know. And it's really, really depressing, especially because it's like, oh my God, girl, you are 14. You should be in the, peach pit of your life right now.
But I'm not getting any sense of drama or melodrama from her when she says it, though. Like, she means what she says, and she says it simply.
Yeah.
Eternity would be a rest.
Yeah. I don't think she even says it, too, as one that's sort of tired of life, either. Yeah. I think she just says it matter-of-factly, like, no, yeah, eternity is going to be a rest.
Like, she knows what she's about.
Yeah.
She's got it all figured out. She knows who she is.
So Helen's always punished and pushed around, but she has faith that she'll be afforded rest in death. And I feel like her character is so interesting because she's so very different from Jane.
Oh, yeah.
So different.
Yeah, an interesting foil, for sure, to Jane.
Absolutely. So Helen ends up getting called by some girl to go put your drawer in order. Miss Scatcherd's gonna yell at you.
And then Helen runs off, and that's kind of how the chapter ends.
Yeah.
This chapter solidified for me. Oh, I like Helen.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Like, I liked her from this start. I just didn't realize that she was gonna be, like, a title character, a named character.
Yeah.
I thought, at first, this was just some random girl. Right? Because, like, we didn't know the girl's name, and Jane's just asking her a ton of questions. And like, just the way they interacted in Chapter 5 was really fun for me.
Yeah.
And so then here, where it's like, oh, okay, now we know the girl's name. This is what's up. Got it.
Yeah. So Chapter 7, I do have a blurb for this one, but it's not very exciting.
Okay.
It's called A Visit from Brocklehurst.
A Visit from fucking Brocklehurst.
That guy.
That fucker. So the chapter spends a bit of time kind of broadly detailing Jane's first 3 months at Lowood.
Yeah.
But the majority of it is discussing a specific event 3 weeks into her time there.
Mm-hmm. After her first quarter at Lowood, which is about 3 months or so.
Yeah.
And then here is where she starts to talk about some of the conditions that she's facing at Lowood. They talk about how there were deep snows and impassable roads and all of that. They didn't go outside the garden walls where she had met Helen, but to go to church, which was a 2-mile walk.
Dreadful.
Now, they don't have proper footwear or even cloaks or coats or anything to keep them warm. They're just...
dreadful.
Yep. She talks about how their feet ended up being just swelled and raw and stiff. She also talks about how the supply of food was distressing.
Yeah, they didn't get much food every day. And the older girls would steal food from the younger ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said that Sundays were dreary days in the wintry season, walking 2 miles here and there. She does talk about how Miss Temple would walk lightly and rapidly along our dripping line, her plaid cloak gathered close about her and encouraging us.
Yeah, she was the upbeat one, and the rest of the teachers were like, not.
This sucks.
Yeah, like, they were just like, it was enough that they were present, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They didn't have the attitude to cheer up anyone because they weren't cheerful themselves.
Yep. And then she talks about they just wanted some heat. They just wanted to get warm. But even this was denied to the little ones because when they get around the hearth in the schoolroom, the bigger girls are crouched in front of it. And the poor little ladies in the back are just wrapped up in their pinafores, just trying.
Yeah. What's a pinafore?
It's kind of like an apron.
Oh, okay.
Sort of. Yeah.
Sort of.
More like a dress than an apron, but aprony.
Aprony.
They spend Sundays repeating by heart the church catechism, the 5th, 6th, and 7th chapters of St. Matthew, and listening to a long sermon read by Miss Miller.
When I read that, I just couldn't help but think, wait, do you have to memorize chapters 5, 6, and 7 of this catechism?
I think you eventually do.
You gotta, be able to recite that shit from memory at some point?
What else are they doing?
No, thank you. I don't know. Learning how to be, honorably poor,
Yep.
I guess. Mrs. Reed was pretty clear. Listen, I need her to know how to behave as a member of her station.
Right.
Poorsy.
Go ahead and treat her like a Poe. So, she's talking about one afternoon. It says that I had been there 3 weeks at Lowood.
This is what the majority of the chapter is about, is this incident.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Brocklehurst comes to town.
I love this part.
Yeah?
Yes.
I found it infuriating, but go ahead.
I love it because it's infuriating.
That's fair.
Yes.
That's fair.
It's hard to read, but I think it's divine. So,
as is typical, when someone in charge of an institution that is largely absent, Brocklehurst, when he turns up, he's the kind of guy who throws his weight around when he's around, oblivious and uncaring of the fact that everything was running just fine without him, nobody likes him, and if you would just kindly fuck off, everything would just be peachy.
mm-hmm.
That's the kind of guy Brocklehurst is.
So he comes in and he talks to Miss Temple.
Yeah, he starts being an ass to
first.
Miss Temple.
So he starts talking about, these things are going wrong. You've spent too much on this. This isn't working out the way it needs to be. I bought this thread and I think it will do. I needed the needles to match, so I sorted that out. That he brings up the laundress tells me some of the girls have had 2 clean tuckers in the week. It's too much. And essentially just super duper nitpicking.
And Miss Temple explains, look, these girls were invited out, and so because it was a special occasion, their clothes were washed an extra time.
Mm-hmm.
And so Brocklehurst was like, this is acceptable, don't let it happen again.
Yep.
And she's like, fine. And then he starts being an ass about the little something extra in chapter 5 after the burnt porridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bread and cheese. And he's like, why are you doing that? And Miss Temple's like, because they were fed a bad meal.
They couldn't eat it.
And he's like, when these kids are dealt suffering, let them suffer. Yep. It will make them better Christians.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
It says here, and this is crazy. It's crazy. It says, "Oh, madam, when you put bread and cheese instead of burnt porridge into these children's mouths, you may indeed feed their vile bodies, but you little think how you starve their immortal souls."
Suffering's good for them. Let them suffer.
Gross.
Fuck
Ugh.
you, Brocklehurst. Fuck you. Fire and brimstone.
So here's where it starts getting. I start getting really, really, really mad, and I'm making an upward gesture with my hand as though on a graph.
Yeah.
Anger level spikes here. Because he sees a young lady with red hair, man, curled all over. And I get the impression that he is freaking out about this.
I don't think he likes redheads.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like curls.
He doesn't like curls. And
I want you to remember this, listener. I want you to remember that he doesn't like curls.
I believe Miss Temple, or maybe it's one of the other teachers, explains to him, she has naturally curly hair. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, then you will endeavor to straighten it.
We are not to conform to nature.
Fucking Christ, dude.
Yeah, which way do you want it, my guy?
Yeah.
Like,
and so, amidst all of this, Jane is like, maybe if I'm just, in the corner with my slate and I just use the slate to hide my face, he won't notice me. Because she's like, she knows what'll happen the moment this guy is aware of her. She'll be outed.
Mm-hmm.
I say outed. I mean, I'm going to put air quotes around that because she's not actually anything that Brocklehurst is about to say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so she goes and tries and makes herself invisible, drops the slate, and of course everybody looks at her. And one of the teachers says, hey, you'll be fine. You're not going to be in trouble over this. And
I love that she calls it her treacherous slate, by the way.
And so Brocklehurst sees her and is like, come here, child. And then he makes her sit in front of everyone and says, I mean, basically that she's a liar. It's like, I have been informed that she is a liar. And then that...
She's an interloper and an alien, which, thank you very much. That's what she's been her whole life.
Yeah.
An other.
Let's just other her some more.
You must shun her example if necessary. Like, avoid her company.
Jane knew what she was about when she told off Mrs. Reed, because she knew. She was like, you have made me look terrible, and so now you've ruined in the next phase of my life.
Yeah.
You've ruined it.
Thanks a lot for this label.
A lot. And so, yeah, Brocklehurst is like, don't talk to her. Don't acknowledge her. Just look at her.
It's a lot of that. It's a lot of like, just disparaging her in front of the entire school because everybody's in the room.
Everybody.
He says to let her stand on the top of that stool, like a high stool in the middle of the room, for the remainder of the day.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned the curls because...
Yeah, what's up with that?
So, Mr. Brocklehurst's wife and daughters come in, too.
Is it his wife and daughter? I thought it was his sister.
I assumed it was wife and daughters.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
So,
they're relatives of his.
Yes, and I assume financially liable for them.
There was something that I picked up on. And maybe this is what you're about to talk about, is how, like, he's getting on about these girls and how they're dressed and looking a little too fancy, and then these two women come in, and they're dressed to the fucking nines. Mm-hmm. They're dressed to the fucking nines.
So I had mentioned the curls, and I wanted to point out how shrewd, you could say, Mr. Brocklehurst is, or I'm sure he thinks he's shrewd when he's really just cruel and kind of an asshole.
He is an asshole.
So it says he's got 3 visitors that come in. They enter the room, and they are described thusly. It says they were splendidly attired in velvet, silk, and furs. These younger girls are, 16, 17, 15, maybe even. They had beaver hats, then in fashion, shaded with ostrich plumes. A profusion of light tresses, blonde hair.
Uh-huh.
Elaborately curl.
Uh-huh.
The elder lady, was enveloped in a costly velvet shawl, trimmed with ermine, which is incredibly expensive, and she wore a false front of French curls.
The hypocrisy of nobles.
It knows no bounds. They're not even nobles.
No, but that's what this feels like.
And I have always, it's not really said, but frankly, I feel like it's implied, that Brocklehurst is so thrifty, air quotes, is so cheap, so that he can keep these ladies happy in their furs. Yeah. He doesn't give a shit about their immortal souls. No, at least not in the same way as these girls.
Well, I mean, they're his family, so they're already saved.
Right. Yeah.
They're Calvinists. They're probably not Calvinists.
Probably not.
But I like that's kind of like where my head goes with this, like, rules for thee, not for me.
Yeah.
I'm great. I'm already saved.
Yeah,
but we're gonna be just fine. You, though, like, if you act up, you'll go to hell.
Right.
Just bogus.
So I feel like the juxtaposition of these, feathered birds next to this, all of these young ladies that don't have anything. They're barely fed. They're hardly clothed. I mean, treated with such severity, and there's never probably been a severe word said to any of these 3 ladies.
Well, they're orphans, so.
Gross.
Fuck them.
I had a note here. It says, pay attention to the last line of chapter 7.
Oh, okay. Your note is, pay attention to the last line of chapter 7. May I read? Yet at that moment, Helen Burns wore on her arm the untidy badge. Scarcely an hour ago, I had heard her condemned by Miss Scatcherd to a dinner of bread and water on the morrow, because she had blotted an exercise in copying it out. Such is the imperfect nature of man. Such spots are there on the disk of the clearest planet, and eyes like Miss Scatcherd's can only see those minute defects and are blind to the full brightness of the orb.
Okay. Yes, I was right to point that out. I love it. I love it. Because she's just talking about how she's just still pissed off that Scatcherd just treats Helen like shit.
It feels like she's saying Scatcherd isn't capable of seeing the beauty in Helen because she can only see the flaws.
Yeah, can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The full brightness of the orb, though. I think the way that it's described, the way she's essentially describing Helen here is poetic and beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Very, tender and sweet.
Yeah. So, Chapter 8 starts off about a half hour after the end of the last one, and she's spending her time just thinking about her lot in life. Like, she's really fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I was doing so well. I made top of my class once. Like, I'm getting on well. Like, I haven't really started making friends yet, but I've started talking to other girls. And, like, the teachers are starting to like me. Yeah. And fucking Brocklehurst came up and just started saying all this shit. And now it's ruined and no one's gonna like me. No one's gonna talk to me anymore. This sucks.
Yep.
And, of course, she's 10, so she doesn't realize that, like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And so Helen's talking to her about it, and she's like, my life is ruined. Brocklehurst told everybody to hate me, and now everyone's gonna hate me. And Helen, I love what she says, because she's basically like, Girl. Do you realize that everybody fucking hates Brocklehurst?
Right.
If he had
Which is like the sassiest thing Helen's ever gonna do, but it's so sweet.
She's like, and now if he had said everyone loved Jane, you would have received quite a bit of ire. But because Brocklehurst said, hey, don't talk to her, she's a liar, you are probably going to make some friends.
Yeah.
Like,
now you're the tough chick.
Yeah.
But Jane explains to Helen, I cannot bear to be solitary and hated, which of course harkens back to her Gateshead days.
Yeah.
Because that's all she ever knew.
Yeah. She's decided she's not doing that anymore. And you know what? More power to her.
She doesn't want that life.
No.
She's being comforted by Helen. Helen essentially calls her impulsive and she should just chill out and remember, death is coming.
Listen, all of your troubles are meaningless in the face of death. It's fine.
We're gonna die. It'll be great. You'll be fine. Miss Temple comes in and...
I love this, by the way. I love this.
You're a human being.
Miss Temple tells these two girls to come with her to her office?
To her apartment.
Her apartment, okay. And so Miss Temple is talking to Helen and is talking to Jane, giving more attention to Helen than Jane. Like, it's clear that Helen is the favorite.
Sure, but she first asks Jane to tell me everything. Yeah. Tell me your whole story.
This is the bit that I loved.
Okay.
This is the bit that I loved. Is she, like, straight up, like, what's going on? What's this about? And so Jane explains all of it.
Everything.
And Miss Temple is like,
all right, you're correct.
This is no big thing. Like, is there anyone that can verify what you're saying? And she's like, yes. And she tells Miss Temple about Mr. Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd is someone that is not related to the family. He's the one that recommended I go to school. He would be the one to talk to.
Right.
And so Miss Temple's basically like, okay, I mean, I'm going to write to him, but if all this is what you are telling me, then you're fine.
You're fine.
Like, this is not a problem. Right. And so then they spend a bit of time with small talk. Like, Miss Temple is really doting on Helen in particular, which makes sense to me, given how awful Scatcherd is.
Well, and Helen's been there for 2 years.
Yeah.
So she's got a little bit of a relationship with her anyway.
Yeah.
She does ask Helen how she is and whether she's coughed much.
Yeah.
I want you to keep that in mind, because I know you haven't read past chapter 8.
Yeah.
And I got news for you.
It's good. Don't you start saying anything. It's good foreshadowing, though, because when we're introduced to Helen, she coughs.
Temple and Helen and Jane have some cake that Temple pulls out.
Yeah.
From her little secret stash.
Yeah, she said, I was going to give this to you when I sent you on your way, but what I have for you is so meager. Yeah, that's right. She wanted to bring something for them to all have during tea time. And who was it? Barbara. Barbara didn't bring enough for 3. And then in response, she says, Mrs. Harden says she has sent up the usual quantity. Mrs. Harden, be it observed, was the housekeeper, a woman after Mr. Brocklehurst's own heart, made up of equal parts of whalebone and iron.
I love it. So here's why I think the whalebone part's interesting.
Okay.
Is they used to make corsets. You've heard of boning? Have you?
No, not in the sense you mean.
Woo! Boning in corsetry or in formal dress refers to essentially like a rigid piece of material that is inserted into the garment to essentially make it hold its shape. So back when this was written, whalebones were used as the boning in corsetry.
So her heart is stiff.
Stiff as hell.
It's stiff like whalebone and iron.
Stiff and unforgiving and uncomfortable.
Okay.
Just like how a corset would be. So that's what always comes to my mind, is that she's describing the inside of what a corset is like, which is unforgiving and uncomfortable.
And so because they did...
That being said, I could go on about corsetry for a long time, because it's not nearly as restrictive as pop culture would have you believe.
Okay.
That's another talk for another time.
It's if it ever becomes relevant in this story, please bring it up again.
I am a costumer after all. So.
There you go. There you go. So, yeah, she gives them some seed cake, which she intended to give them when they were done, but she gives it to them now since Mrs. Harden was like, no, I sent up the usual amount. I'm not sending up any more.
Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck you.
I love staring you directly in the eyes going, fuck you.
Fuck you. So Miss Temple just kind of starts shifting to Helen specifically, and those two start talking about things that, like, Jane is completely oblivious to.
Oh.
But Jane's okay with that because she's just spending this time looking at Helen. She's just looking at Helen. I think she's really taken by this girl. Like, she just wants to be her best friend forever.
Sweet Helen. They talk about that they had conversed of nations in times past, of countries far away, of secrets of nature discovered or guessed at. They spoke of books and how many they had read.
Uh-huh.
They talked about French authors, and I mean, Miss Temple asked Helen if she sometimes recalled the Latin her father had taught her, and asked her to read some Latin out of Virgil, and she obeyed. Helen is she's so smart.
Yeah.
She's so well read. She's so very academically well rounded.
Yeah. And so Miss Temple finally dismisses them, sends them to bed.
And Jane notices that Temple held Helen for a little bit longer.
Just a little bit.
And that she was a little more tender to Helen than she was to Jane. And I don't think she observed that in like well, why not me?
Yeah, no, she was just aware, like, oh, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
There's some kind of relationship here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something's going on with Helen, maybe, or something.
Maybe.
What's happening?
Maybe. So they go to bed. And Scatcherd is going through Helen's shit. She's like, you didn't organize your panty drawer. And Helen's like, I intended
Did you think you were going to say the word panties while we were talking about Jane Eyre?
Sure didn't, but I couldn't think of the correct word for here, and panties was close enough.
Panties.
I suppose, actually, in Britain, they call underwear pants.
Panties is better.
Panties is better.
Oh.
And so, yeah, Helen's just like, I meant to.
Oops.
I meant to. Next morning, Miss Scatcherd wrote in conspicuous characters on a piece of pasteboard the word slattern and bound it like a phylactery round Helen's large, mild, intelligent, and benign-looking forehead.
Ugh.
She wore it till evening, patient, unresentful, regarding it as a deserved punishment. The moment Miss Scatcherd withdrew after afternoon school, I ran to Helen, tore it off, and thrust it into the fire.
Jane's been mad about that all day.
All day.
She's been so mad.
She is so mad about the injustices put on Helen.
Mm-hmm.
She knows injustice when she sees it.
Yeah, she does.
And she can tolerate it when it's inflicted on her, but she will not tolerate it when it's inflicted on her friend.
She won't tolerate it when it's inflicted on her. Thank you very much.
No, but I feel like there's a little more indignation when it's happening to Helen. Like that's kind of how it feels right now.
Yeah, fair. A week later, Miss Temple receives a letter from Mr. Lloyd, who she had written to previously about Jane. He corroborates Jane's whole account, and Jane is cleared of all charges.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Like, she announces to everyone, hey,
she's cool.
She's cool. It's fine. She's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I liked that.
So after that, honestly, for the rest of the chapter, Jane's time is a little bit better. Now, is she being fed more? No. Is she being clothed better? No. Is she being, treated with more love? Maybe not.
But she's not ostracized.
She's not ostracized anymore. She is doing better in her classes. She was promoted to a higher class. In 2 months later, she was allowed to start learning French and drawing.
Cool.
C'est bon.
We love that.
And, she feels like she's sort of blossoming here. And, what I love is the last line, again, the last line of the chapter, which says, I would not now have exchanged Lowood with all its privations for Gateshead and its daily luxuries.
I mean, what good are the daily luxuries of Gateshead if you're not, accepted as part of the family?
For sure.
She didn't get to partake in quite a few of those luxuries because Mrs. Reed's freaking asshole.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so that's the start of Jane's time at Lowood. And I like it. I'm not a fan of Lowood, but I like how this story is progressing so far. I very much have the impression that while the worst of things at the moment is done, it's gonna get worse. That is the impression I'm left with, is that Jane is gonna have a lot of shitty stuff happen to her and the people around her, and that's the kind of story this is, and that's why it is so engaging, even if it will be upsetting.
No spoilers here.
No.
Now, again, I'll reiterate, as I had said previously.
These are my predictions.
Yes. I've read this book dozens and dozens of times.
So this is all familiar to you. You know what's coming.
As though I wasn't going to take the opportunity to reread it, though, please.
Yeah.
I think that you'll be interested to see how she ends up becoming a young woman.
Yeah, I'm interested to see her grow up a bit. I've seen stories revolving around kids around Jane's age here, and I've seen them executed well, but there's so much in a story that you can't really touch on if your main character is 10.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to seeing her grow up and how that affects her life as she gets older, and I think this is really fun. I'm curious to see how all of her childhood hang-ups influence the romance that I'm sure is coming.
It's coming, baby.
I know that there is a reason why people really enjoy this story, which is why, through cultural osmosis, that's why I assumed that this was a nice, cozy story, because I know that there's romance in this story. I know that. I just don't really know how or why or in what way. I'm really liking it, and I'm looking forward to next time. So, what are we reading next time?
Next episode, we will be reading through chapters 9 through 11.
3 chapters.
3 chapters. For good reason.
Are they lengthy?
I think there's just a lot going on in them.
There's a lot going on.
We're gonna want to break down.
Okay.
I'm interested specifically to see how you swallow chapter 9.
Oh boy.
We will get there.
We'll get there. Oh boy. Okay. We'll see how I swallow chapter 9.
And I will tell you how I react to it every single time.
Every single time. Your reaction doesn't change.
My kids can attest to this. My husband can attest to this. It doesn't change.
Oh, there's some hullabaloo.
There's lots of hubbubbas.
There's some hubbub about chapter 9.
You know it.
Okay. Well, I feel like the listeners that have read Jane Eyre are like,
you're like, oh buddy.
Oh God. And then the ones that haven't are like,
what's the big
what's gonna happen?
She just got, everything gets better and better,
She's just had all of her charges cleared. Everyone loves Jane again.
She's got a friend. Things are getting better.
Yeah.
Sissy bone.
Alright, anyways. In 2 weeks, chapters 9 through 11, we will chat with you again.
For sure.
Bye.
Bye.